If you're tired of corporate media bowing to fascists and fundamentalists, check out The Collective. It's a grassroots, creator-owned platform for people who believe in liberation, not empire. At The Collective, you'll find fiery essays, sharp satire, and thought-provoking articles from today's boldest, justice-minded writers. Plus, you'll get real tools to create change, like scripts to contact your congresspeople, guides to push back locally, and a nationwide directory of Black and queer-owned businesses. Use promo code RADICALLOVE for 10% off a yearly subscription. That's a savings of 20% off the monthly price. Visit thecollective.com. That's TheQuolllective and become part of something that resists, reimagines, and rebuilds.
This is Radical Love Live, an ongoing series of conversations with thought leaders exploring faith outside the boxes, hosted by Mark Dilcomb and Kelly Wilson.
Hey, Mark.
Hello, Kelly.
How are you today?
I am truly freaking awesome.
I love that. I love that, that you are freaking awesome all the time.
Yeah, as you know, I had this summer of moving my mom from Missouri here to New Jersey. I'm not so sure I was freaking awesome through all of that.
You said you were, though. Is it kind of like fake it till you make it? Or?
I think that was actually it. It was faking it until I made it. Yeah. But I made it. I still love my mother, and she's happy where she is. And we, by the grace of everything, and the divine, the God, all of however we describe it, she's here, and we're very happy about that. So, yes, indeed.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jon Carl.
You know, it's interesting. I had a similar experience this summer getting my stepfather into
Roger.
Getting him into a senior living facility, and that worked out really well. But it was a lot of travel between here and
you're going back to Virginia,
phone calls and stuff like that. But yeah, he seems very settled.
Good. Good. Yeah, we both have had that. So, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. You know, like there've been a lot of challenges this week, and I keep reminding myself I'm a child of God. And that's the kind of like the core thing, like when
if all else you're going to root yourself into that. You know,
like I'm between freelance gigs, and I'm hoping for the next gig. Yeah. Everybody out there are praying. People pray me some work, and and other challenges, parenting, and when my kid is telling me like my friend is worried because ICE is in their neighborhood, like things like that, like these big world things. I do what I can, but there's a point where I have to stop and go, I'm a child of God. At least I'm going to do what I can, but I'm also going to give what I can over to God to take care of, or at least change me in a way that I will be better prepared to take care of it.
Very well said. It, there's a saying that we, both of us might know, let go, let God, which to me is always one of those like, well, that's a little bit of spiritual bypassing. Kind of feels that way. But there is the truth of being grounded in that we are all children of our God. Full stop. There's nothing else to add. And in that rootedness, it helps for me recenter, because, as I have shared more than once about that experience of moving mom here, I frequently relied on grounding myself, because otherwise I'd find myself flying all over the place at all different levels, like at the physical level, the emotional level, the spiritual level, the soul level, and like just everything was just, full steam, never stop. I can't slow down, yelling at God, yelling at everything. But I would say, but I am a child of God. And thank you for saying that. Like, it's so true.
It is. And one of the things that's helped me with that, with the spiritual bypassing element, because, there was a time in my kind of more agnostic phase where it was really clear to me that God didn't answer every prayer. That I didn't just go out and go like, hey, God, I'm sick. That. Will you heal me? Will you heal me before Monday? Because I got to go back to work or whatever. And it didn't happen. And I'll be like, and there are some people who kind of rage at God because of unanswered prayers. But
yes.
The principles of process theology and kind of open relational theology have
like some
helped
of our beloved friends,
quite a bit, like like
space,
Tom Ord and some of those folks, has been helpful in reminding me that I'm co-creating with God.
You are.
That prayer is part of it, but my action is part of it, and we're kind of cooperating in this process together. That's a lot more helpful than sitting back and being like, well, God, why didn't you fix my car? Or why didn't you drop $1 million in my pocket?
Yeah, how come I didn't win the lottery, God?
Yeah, Joel Osteen said you were going to.
I know, Joel said. Yeah, blame it on Joel. All right, well.
He was hiding in his bathroom wall.
Yeah. So we have an awesome guest with us today who we need to bring into conversation.
Yes, he's sitting here very patiently watching this tennis match.
Hello, Jon Carl.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome to have you. So Jon Carl Lewis, who has been on with us before, is coming back into the studio. He's with us live and in real person, sitting right between Kelly and me.
I'm here.
So welcome. It's so great to have a guest in our house.
Yes.
So, welcome.
Ooh, well said. I like that, to have a guest in our house.
I feel welcome.
Yeah. You are welcome, my beloved friend and brother. So what's going on with you? How are you, Jon Carl?
I really don't know. It's funny because we've been talking about people, parents going into care and end of life things. My mother died June 18th, and we gave her a tremendous send off on the 25th. But talking with you reminded me of the entire roller coaster of emotions and how many hours of work you do. Trying to help someone move towards that place. Yes. If God allows you to have that time, and as I said to you, Mark, it was incredibly frustrating, and yet we needed every moment of that time with Mom for me to feel a sense of peace and resolve, and no regrets.
Yes.
No regrets, right? Oh, wow.
And we're not done. So my mother used to call me every birthday and sing "Happy Birthday to You." Cold open. I pick up the phone and it's "Happy Birthday to You" first thing in the morning. Whole thing.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And it was so nice. And this was the first year she was not going to do that.
Right.
And I thought about it. I said, well, I just need to make peace with this. And one of my soul friends, and I can explain that concept later, one of my soul friends calls, I pick up the phone, and he sings "Happy Birthday" to me.
Did he know?
No.
That's extraordinary.
And I'm like, soul friend, Mom is like this. She tells people to do things, and I see she hasn't stopped.
Oh, wow.
She's doing from the other side, like you put a cue into your soul friend to make that call.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And that's when God shows up. It's sort of like, and through walking through this process with Mom, it's like God keeps showing up in ways that I didn't particularly ask for.
Funny how that is, right?
Right. Yeah.
God on command. That's not how that works.
No, she don't like that. No. They don't like that.
They, she.
Well, I try to use they pronouns for God because we are a Trinity.
We truly are, and thank you for saying that.
We are a Trinity.
We can all agree.
They're
to
they.
That. Yeah. So at least I will agree. I shouldn't speak for Kelly on the they. So,
well, in the translations of the Bible that I see, even back at creation, and God says we will create man in our image.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In the plural. Yep. In a non-gendered way.
Right. Male and female created he, them. Like that's like the Beatles. That's like, I am he and you are he and we are we. And
we are break out in the song?
No.
Okay.
Maybe a spoken word piece.
Okay.
Kind of Shatner-esque, sir.
Yeah, very good, very good. Speaking of which, I was at an event at St. Mark's in the Bowery last night, and I saw a spoken performance of The Prophet.
Oh, Khalil Gibran.
Yes.
Okay.
It was so...
Did they transform it into a play of some sort, or were they readings from the?
There's readings,
Okay.
and there were 4 speaking from the 4 elements of the piece itself, and they had a flautist. I want to say that correctly. Play the music to the background of that, and it was so beautifully done. So maybe
Wow.
we could do that. Yes, but for the folks that don't know the prophet, and the name is, say it again.
Khalil Gibran.
Thank you. You said it perfectly. I would massacre that. Look it up. It was written in the 1920s. It is known as the Hippies' Bible.
Yes.
So they gave a reference to that. But the reason why it was important to St. Mark's is he read that. That was the first public reading of the prophet, was in St. Mark's in the Bowery back in 1923 or whenever he wrote it. Yeah. So that's kind of the full connection of that.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So that was cool. Yeah. So, Jon Carl, you've been a busy person.
Yes, I have been.
Yes, you have. So I'm going to tease this a little bit. Wild Goose, maybe we could start there because you were there.
Well, yeah.
And Kelly and I weren't. And
No, I tried to make it. I was shopping for a tent to put on the back of my SUV for car parking.
Yeah.
But with all the other travel and work needs, I couldn't make it down.
Well, first let's talk logistics, because for the first time I stayed on campus on that field and in those forests. And I did this thing called glamping.
Oh, I saw that they were advertising glamping.
For $100.
okay.
You have this like luxury space. Make sure you ask for a bed. I did not.
Okay.
But,
Check.
but I did ask for right.
couch.
No, there's nothing. I asked for a table that was there and a fan, and anyway.
Okay.
But that's the most wonderful way of doing it. It's like you can entertain in there if you like. And I know this because there was a coterie of gay boys at the other end of my row, and I was not invited to any of theirs.
Oh,
yes.
Did you ask to be invited?
I have known these guys.
You knew them?
I've known them for years at Q Christian Conference. However, I did tent next to the very muscly Kevin Young.
Oh,
And it was wonderful to get to know him. And he had a friend there, and that was wonderful to get to know him.
Oh, wow.
And we really bonded. I knew Kevin when he was walking around Wild Goose straight, and just hanging out and thinking, okay, I have another straight friend. And this year he was walking very closely with someone, and I thought they're walking a little close. Like Kevin is straight, and so we're not going to presume.
Right.
And we may get around to this, but I no longer believe in sexual orientation.
So let's do So I want to back up for our listeners that do not know what Wild Goose is.
Yes.
Let's give them a primer on what that is. Go for it.
Wild Goose is summer camp for adult progressive Christians.
Ooh, well said.
Or Christians who think they're progressive. And Christians who are sort of trying to move in that direction, but don't know what progressive means.
This is true. And you'll get people that are maybe in the deconstruction phase or questioning phase or coming back in, or it's a very
evangelical,
all of that, right? It's a milieu of divinity there, right? There's not just one stream. It's multiple streams.
It's multiple streams.
Yeah.
Most of the people have had significant encounters with evangelicalism. So as a post-evangelical myself, there's a lot of that language and a lot of that thinking. But we liturgical types show up.
Indeed.
And add spice.
Well, you add spice wherever you go, my friend. Did you present there as well?
Yeah. So I only led 2 workshops, and I was on a panel discussion.
Okay. Tell us about it.
So the workshop that I really enjoyed giving, I enjoyed both of them, but I was trying to test balloon this idea of creating liberative theologies that support a healthy sexuality or healthy conversation.
That's your
sexuality.
space, baby, and you are working in that as you should be.
That's my space, and so that was lovely. I tried to do a more embodied thing, erotic self-care, which is something I'm very interested in, but I'm not sure that's my work. We did relaxation exercises, we did, visualization, we did discussion, we did non-sexual self-touch to wake up all the parts of the body, and in other venues, we have a second part where we continue to wake up the body, but not at Wild Goose.
Level 2.
In the middle of a field. but the thing I loved this time was Jessica Miller Kelly, an editor at Westminster John Knox, sends me an email and basically like, since you're never going to get around to writing a book, will you be on this panel on healthy masculinity?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
And, I did not push back as I usually would.
To resist to be on the panel?
Yeah.
Or just on the theme of healthy masculinity?
On the theme of healthy masculinity. I have tons of thoughts.
Yeah.
And, I'm thinking, but I'm queer. And basically, yes, that's why you're here.
Exactly. So were you holding back thinking that your queerness was somehow I don't want to say barrier, but it, like somehow didn't put you in place to be on this panel? That you had to be predominantly straight or hetero or some other identity to be a part of the panel? I'm just curious.
Well, it's really strange how this masculinity thing has worked out because I thought I was just going to be a commenter on, masculinity in general. And in that panel, I realized that I have core things to say about masculinity and there's core work to be done. The panel was a little bit interesting because the idea was to construct a healthy masculinity in conversation with Christian men. And some of the other panelists were much more interested in admiring the problem of toxic masculinity.
Ooh.
And that went on quite a bit until it kept coming back to me. And first thing I did was like, okay, folks, I don't have a problem with masculinity at all. I think patriarchy is toxic.
Amen. There.
Patriarchy is toxic. Masculinity is beautiful. And when you see men behaving badly and the structures, that's patriarchy. And patriarchy puts men in a man box. Now, some people have never heard this term. I had no idea. The man box.
It's the first time I've ever heard the man box.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know the God box, but not the man box.
Well,
Yeah, I think I saw a bar with that name one time in
The man
Cleveland
box
or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that'd be a great. Okay, so if we're ever gonna open a gay bar,
yes,
the man box is
that's
a great name.
The man box. Oh,
Quick,
yes.
trademark that.
That's right. Yeah. You heard it here first.
That's right.
But the man box, strangely enough, we as men know the man box by age 3. By age 3, we know all the rules of the man box.
Wow. Okay.
And the first rule of the man box is that boys and girls are different. To the extent that they might as well come from different planets. They think differently. They do different things. Boys wear blue, girls wear pink.
Right. Because
at that age when you're doing, concrete things. Well, anyway, most of us never grow out of the man box.
Even queer men, do you think we stay, or we're trapped? Trapped, it might be a word.
Yes. Yes.
Because of the conditioning that we had at that very young age, where it's imprinted on us, and you're saying it operates at a different level than where we do sexually, and how we identify it's still there. And I would have to agree, because I do that a lot, actually. I still put things in boxes.
Here's how I've seen the man box work in gay male spaces.
Okay.
So at every gathering, let's say Easton Mountain, which is a men's retreat center for spiritual men who like to take their clothes off. But the you see a lot of men dressing up as women and expressing their feminine side. And it sort of occurs to me that what I'm looking at when these men dress up as women, they're all dressing up as their mothers in housewife mode.
Wow.
So they're not challenging man box. They're going into the female box and saying, okay, what looks like a female box? Okay, house dress. Okay, wig. Okay, high voice. Okay, sensitive. And I'm looking at all those
Which
things.
is interesting that they're grabbing a stereotypical femininity.
Right.
Okay, are you touching upon something that you're coming out with something that's going to be profound here? That because if we had somebody that was in this conversation that was trans, which not the three of us aren't, at least not that I know of, that I don't identify as that, would they push back on your man box theory here?
Some might, but I'm specifically not talking about trans people.
Fine. Then let's clarify that. So
right.
This is in a separate box. We're still talking about a gay man who does something that identifies
who is self-identified as a man.
And their ideal of a feminine is to go grab those certain things like that.
Yeah, stereotypical feminine things. Now let's clarify the trans thing. I must admit that I don't know very many trans women.
Okay.
When I go to Easton Mountain, however, I'm hanging out with all the trans men.
How very interesting. We say that at the same time. Okay.
They like me, I like them.
Do trans women go to Easton?
I think there are some.
Interesting.
I'm not sure. And there are definitely people at Easton who, some of these guys who are playing with traditional feminine stereotypes are on a gender journey. But to me, it doesn't feel integrated. It's like...
It's still a separate thing.
Right. Yeah. I am exploring the woman box.
Yeah. Wow.
The trans guys, my God, they're guys.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
They feel to me like guys.
Yeah.
For years, my husband and I have like noticed these like butch little things wandering around. We think, oh, that's a cute little boy. And then I look closer, I'm like, that boy probably doesn't have a penis.
Right.
And they're hot. And they're masculine.
Oh, totally.
And so, when people talk about, when I hear people talk about like transitioning the word F to M, female to male, that doesn't feel right to me because that's what these people are.
Yeah, they are.
That is who they are.
They are that, right. The transitioning is really more of the surgical and that side of the element of it.
Right.
So circling back to this panel and having that kind of conversation about healthy masculinity, what you just said about how some of the others on the panel wanted to gravitate towards toxic masculinity because it's such an easy thing to talk about.
Oh yeah, right? talk around the circle.
Yeah,
and men are pigs and
men are pigs.
Exactly. Yes, which some men are pigs.
Abusive and don't listen.
And some men are abusive and yes, all that above. But to take that big broad brush and paint all masculine with that it's toxic is absolutely not fair because I look at myself. I'm a mixture of my I think I have a healthy balance of my masculine and feminine. I'm in touch with both of those. I don't know if I have them integrated, but at least I'm self-aware enough of those, and it's because of the spaces I work in. You bring up a point whether somebody is queer or not. I don't know how many of us have even thought about how to build an awareness around the man box.
Well, shout out to Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary and Tim Eberhardt, my advisor. They would not let me get a degree in sexuality without also studying gender.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes. And I'm so glad they did, because now I'm focused more on gender. And back to that panel, I realized these guys had never heard of the man box. They had no idea what effect it had on their lives. They had no idea that there was a distinction between patriarchy and masculinity.
Of course, because it's so easy to conflate it down or not even know the difference,
Right.
when yet they are two completely separate things.
They're completely separate things.
Yes.
And where I found my calling, strangely enough, is they were bemoaning how nobody teaches us anymore. Nobody teaches a man how to be a man. Nobody trains us. Nobody initiates us. And I was like, okay, stop. There's a booth over there across the field. It's called Illumin, Illuman. They are initiating men into healthy ways of being men.
Wow.
They are using the principles of Richard Rohr.
Oh, well, okay, they got my vote right there.
Right.
So let's go.
They
Keep going.
come out of men's rites of passage, which Richard Rohr, created. I went through a course on leadership for Illumin over the past few weeks. And I mean, my God, it's Richard Rohr. One guy said, hey, if you need prompts for these, you have these council circles and a talking stick, and they've stopped using Native American words to signal assent. Thank God.
A little, yes.
They're not appropriating
so that's not
spirit animals and such.
White men with Indian drums. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not okay.
Which we could also say about wild goose. Still go, because they're carrying on this lineage.
Yeah.
Well, one guy said, hey, if you want to come up with prompts as you lead a group, why don't you go to AI and type in, hey, what would Richard Rohr say as a prompt? And I'm thinking, did Richard give his consent?
You were so brilliant.
No, I didn't say. No, I did not say that.
I
did not say.
And of course, Kelly applauds, because it's
right.
being what you are as a profession. You look at AI as the.
That's right. Right. I'm a writer, and AI is trying to eat my lunch.
Yes.
So.
You have to fight them off.
Yes.
But anyway, when I started talking about Illumin, I went back through history and I said, the Christian church has been forming men for 2,000 years. Mm-hmm. We have been forming healthy men for 2,000 years. It hasn't taken with everybody. But the religious orders have always dropped out. St. Francis led a movement of young men.
Yeah, he did.
Ignatius of Loyola led a movement of young men.
Yes,
they were in their 20s.
Yeah.
He was maybe 29. They were in their 20s and laid down these principles that still work today. And then I brought it forward to Richard Rohr, and I said, Richard Rohr has done extensive work on this.
Yeah. And
then I started to preach. And I said, and the work didn't go on, because what happened was everybody started worrying that if men got in touch with their masculinity with other men and went through these men's rites of passage, which opened your heart to intimacy with other men, they have this tremendous fear that it will go too far.
Absolutely. And all of a sudden,
they'll be gay.
Exactly. They're going to be naked and touching each other and their genitals and stuff like that.
Well, there are a lot of men's groups out there who are naked and touching each other, and they're saying, oh, it's not gay. Mm-hmm. It's just primal.
Oh, well said. Yeah, because you're right. I was putting it into the gay box when it's much different.
It's much different.
Yeah.
And, what I realized in that moment, though, is sort of like, here I am arguing for Richard Rohr's ways of doing things. I've noticed that, that work has been suppressed for fear of the erotic among men. And I realized, oh, my God, Richard was my mentor. I need to carry on his work.
Wow.
And a friend said to me, he said, you were the only gay man carrying on Richard Rohr's lineage.
Is that true? I mean, I'm processing because I'm very familiar with what they do and the work and the people that are surrounded it, and, whether it's, Finley or, there's a whole list, or Rougeau or anything else.
Yeah. Well, Center for Action and Contemplation has always kept its distance from homoeroticism.
Intentionally, or?
Well, I know, 25 years ago or less than that, I'm trying to think, Andrew Harvey was disinvited from an interview or something, or teaching for the Center for Action and Contemplation.
Oh, okay.
They have a lot of Catholic support.
Yes, they do. Because Richard himself is a Franciscan priest. And so in that aspect, he is connected to...
Well, not only is he connected to it, Richard gets Catholicism.
He does, but he gets it at a level that most people don't get.
Well, he's a Franciscan.
Right. So exactly. So we're back to full circle. That's like having this conversation with a Franciscan or a Jesuit or anybody else.
Jesuit.
They have that. They have that heart space, then head space combined, where they see the world in ways that most don't. But that's what Richard does.
Yes. Yes.
So do you think Richard himself stops that, or is it just the nature of the Catholicism or Roman Catholic Church that there's kind of a line drawn in the sand, like we should not cross over?
I don't know. I don't know.
We're going tangential, but I've never thought about that. I've never felt unwelcome.
No.
Right, because I connect to it,
Right.
The daily meditations, there's nothing that Richard has ever put out personally that has even had a whiff of anything that was anti-queer. He's about one thing, love.
Well, he is, and Richard has written articles on promoting homosexuality not promoting, but
let's be gay.
Explaining how
that sounds like a South Park episode.
Explaining how homosexuality is part of God's divine diverse plan.
Yeah,
he's real clear. Brian McLaren is wonderful. Cynthia Bourgeois is wonderful. They are all wonderful people who embrace.
They do. McLaren himself, that's why I got him in trouble with his own denominations when he married his son to what is now his husband. So
yes,
I would think Brian is definitely on our side of things.
Incredibly.
And Cynthia as well, of course.
And the center itself is incredibly sensitive to not losing the approval of their donors and the Roman Catholic Church.
There's that. There's always that. It always comes back to money.
And and I'm not saying that Richard is an incredibly savvy person, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure he is. You know him, yeah. So
yeah. We used to hang out together for 3 years, and for years I wouldn't tell anybody that, and now I realize, okay, wait a minute, we've got some work to do.
Were you conscious of name dropping, or is that?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because if you're in a room of contemplatives, of really spiritual people who are progressive, and when I would say something like, even to one-on-ones, say something like, oh yeah, I used to go visit Richard Rohr's hermitage. Mm-hmm. Conversation stops. That's the end of it. And can get into celebrity mode. To Kelly's point, right?
Yeah. Right.
Because he is, you can put him
in certain circles. He's
like
very well respected.
He's a big fucking deal.
Admired.
Well, he ought to be.
I don't disagree.
Right. I knew him before Oprah.
Okay.
I remember when he was invited on the Oprah program, right after he met Eckhart Tolle, and now he's back on Oprah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's died several times, and now he's on a new book tour.
Mm-hmm. Right, because he has a cat with 9 lives. Clearly,
he has work to do,
and that's probably what keeps him alive. For the listeners who don't know Rohr's medical conditions, he doesn't keep it a secret. He is a sick man. but obviously something will not. He, as you just said, he has work to do. So he's not going to be in the grave.
He has work to do.
Yeah.
But the way Richard worked with men, the heart space was open. He didn't care where that heart went.
Mm.
I don't care what you discover about yourself as a man.
Mm-hmm.
I care that you discover yourself as a beloved child of God in all of your fullness and all of your wholeness. So he's not doing gay spirituality where you need to discover yourself as a gay man or a queer man.
Right.
I need to write a book on how everything in Richard Rohr fits nicely into queer theology. But I can't put his name and queer on the same book title because I don't think he would like that. He doesn't want to be labeled. I don't know that he's queer,
Yeah, I mean, because being conscribed as he is, so he can be outside that space and not have to identify. But I don't think one should not be required to identify.
One should not be required to identify. And that's where some of his power comes from. We talk about, celibacy, sometimes as a gift, but here's a man who anybody can plug into. Husband, father, pastor can plug into Richard Rohr.
Yeah.
Manly men searching for authentic masculinity can plug into Richard Rohr. Soft, queer, contemplative gay boys like me can plug into Richard Rohr. We can all walk in through him. He's iconic, like Francis.
Yes. Yes.
And he's everything by being nothing.
I'm curious about one thing, and this was a couple topics ago, but it's simmering in here. We were talking about the church forming men. It sounded like those communities were all without women, or that men who were not going to then be pursuing, be living in the world with women.
Yes.
And I'm just curious about if that's the ideal way to form men, is get men off on their own and be men.
Well, let me reveal. Something Richard said to me is he thinks it's useful for men to go away by themselves and even be celibate for a period of time as spiritual formation. That is how, Buddhists do it.
Yeah.
I forget what country, but all the boys go into the monastery to receive their education and be trained as Buddhists, and they shave their heads, they beg for rice, they are celibate to the extent that they're watching. Humans are humans. And then they go into the army, or they decide, I'm coming back to this life. And, not everybody comes back, but you don't want everybody. Those guys take that spirituality into being fathers and warriors and wherever they go. And then the people who are called, stay in that life, or they wander around and they come back. I mean, in Hinduism, you have the concept of the forest dweller, householders. You go through you make the money, you marry the wife, you have all the kids, you run all the business, you're active in your community. And as you become an older person like Richard, you can follow your spiritual desire to go and live in the forest as a contemplative. It's a recognized stage.
This is a Hindu practice?
This is within Hinduism.
I did not know.
The forest dwellers.
Wow.
And these are different than the renunciates. Hinduism has ashrams, and then they have something else, and I forget what the name is, but they're temporary, and they're for people living in the world. So the ashram, you sell everything, you're there, you make all these vows to a guru, and you hope they're not abusive. But then you have these other things which are equally intense spiritual study, and they're temporary.
It's like a retreat or...
Yeah, like a retreat.
A very committed retreat, though.
A very committed retreat.
Yeah, I said that tentatively because it didn't sound quite right. But.
And these are people who, live full lives with, Well, I'm not saying that you can't... I'm not saying that without a wife and kids, you're not living a full life. But you don't have that dichotomy forever.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. Well, thank you for clarifying that.
And you would think, in my personal tradition, and Kelly is an Episcopalian, there's Holy Cross Monastery in Hudson Valley, right?
Yes.
So, of course, you have the brothers up there full time, but you also have a huge community of oblates that are that are out in the world. And I tamper with the idea of actually making the commitment into being an oblate, but it is exactly that. You're living in the world, but you make an intention to come back to community there, ideally once a year. So it's a both and. And
sort of like being in the Army Reserves, where
exactly,
yeah, it is. Yeah, right. You have to go back for 2 weeks a year. Yeah, it is very much like that. Yeah. And I love that notion. And I'm not fully experienced with other traditions of monastery life and how it might work in a different tradition like Roman Catholic Church or any of their in monasteries. But I love that about Holy Cross, that you can have that, and that's somewhat speaking to this, where you hold an intentionality to hold a faith in a way that you live it out into the world. Not that we're not all called to do that, but that feels like there's just an additional degree to it.
Right. Yeah, and so what I would like to see happen is to take another stab at Richard's work, but have it explicitly open to take the erotophobia out of it. Mm-hmm. I feel that the thing that holds back men from being full, whole men is that they put that gay thing so far away from them that they don't have room to follow where their heart leads. Most of them are not going to be gay.
And there's a fear of that. If you look at like evangelical spaces, that seems to be the fear underneath the theology is that being gay is so tempting that any man opens himself to this idea that like we're all going to be gay. Like you got to cut things off.
Indeed.
And prevent your kids from watching that movie or from talking to that person.
That's right. They can't watch Brokeback Mountain.
That's right.
So with that said, we've come up to time on this episode, and I think this is a perfect cutoff point and a great cliffhanger as well for the next episode. As we go into conversation, we'll continue this with Jon Carl, where we're going with that. So, all right. So listeners, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will catch you on the next one, and we appreciate your patronage and all those wonderful things. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Radical Love Live, hosted by Mark Dilcom and Kelly Wilson. Recorded at the Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. All rights reserved. Find our episodes on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And check us out at radicallovelive.com, along with our personal websites at markdilcom.com and kellywilson.com. This is Radical Love Live, where we explore faith outside the boxes.